Right. So it's from the 36th one onward. And let me see what are the numbers that you have told me. Yes. 36. No one has asked to do the 36. It's the 40th you were asking me to do. So I'm going to the 40th straight away. In case if anyone need, I have done the 40th as well. Okay. So then 42nd. Okay. So starting from 42nd. So the 42nd, which of the following Python expression shows the correct evaluation order of the Python expression? So it has, oh my God, do we missing anything over here? Yes. Mage paper එකේ සමහර operators ටිකක් missing. Hold on, people. I have to refer the book for this. What is there? What is there? 214, 32nd question. Yeah, it says 10 minus 4 into 3 divided by 2 minus 5. So here you got minus mark. Here you have minus as well. Right. Now what should be the correct order? Now we have three kinds of operators. Minus 4, three. Minus, multiplication, and division. Right? So if I write it, if I illustrate it clearly, 10 minus 4 into 3 divided by 2 minus 5, right? So when it comes to these operators, minus, multiplication, division has the highest priority, minus has the lower priority than the multiplication and division. So first we have to concentrate on the multiplication, because when it comes to the multiplication and division, this is the one which we find from left to right, right? When we are walking from left to right in the equation, this is the one we found first. So this is going to be the first operator that is considering. This is going to be the second operator. Once we deal with those two things, then we have these minuses. Then again, this is going to be the third operator that we are considering, and this is going to be the fourth operator, right? So if the operators are on the same level, you start from the left side and see who comes first. So then that will be considered as the highest priority. So that is why multiplication gets the highest, then the division gets the second highest, right? Or the second top priority, right? So in that case, the first thing that should happen is 4 into 3, right? Again, 4 into 3 gava muling වරහන් දාගෙන තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ brackets level වලින් ගිහිලා තියෙන්නේ. So 4 into 3 happens first. Then this is going to happen as the second. And this is going to happen as the third. Finally, the big one is going to happen. Right? So 4 into 3 happens first. So because of that, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong as well. So 4 into 3 are there in second one and the fifth one. And secondly, what they have done, the division part. Yeah. Then 4 into 3 divided by 2. So in the second answer and the third answer, both happens in the same way. Okay, paper ke brackets level awul vela tiyenawa. Let me concentrate it from this. Yeah. Yes. What's the difference between the second and the fourth? Hold on. 4 into 3 happens first. Yeah. deceiving. In the second answer, it says 4 into 3 happened first. Then 10 minus thing is going to happen next. හරියට බලන්න. මුලින්ම තියෙන්නේ මේ වරහන් දෙක. ඊට පස්සේ තියෙන්නේ මේ වරහන් දෙක. So which is not a correct one. So for that reason, fifth one is going to be the answer. Is it the fifth one? The answer. Let me see. For the 42nd, yeah, the fifth one is the answer. So is that clear, everyone? So you have to think about how the operators are going to execute, right? So for that reason, for 42nd, fifth one is going to be the answer. Right. So then 44th. Okay. CSS. Consider the following HTML style rules. Which of the above rules will display H1 elements and all the paragraphs of the following document in red, right? In red. So that means you have to write a CSS either for H1 separately and paragraphs separately. Then we should make color colon red on each component, or we can group the statements, right? So we can choose, we can take D as a correct answer. This is called the grouping statement, right? So the grouping selectors, P and the H1. Lamai, just excuse me for a moment. Right. So the part D is considered as the grouping selecting point. So P, H1 color. Hold on, people. Do we? I'm sorry, my copy is having some problems. Yeah, colon is there. Colon is there. Otherwise, you will feel it is not correct. Metana colon එක තියනවා ළමයි. Right, every point is having the colon. So we can take the D as the correct one. It is the grouping of selectors. So for the grouping selectors, all right. Right, so the 44th D can be taken as a correct one, as well as we can take C as a correct one. So it says make the color of the fonts of paragraph in red, as well as make the colors. Oh, you have to put some water, Susu. Have some water.
We have some water.
Okay, now then it will be okay, right? Keep it for a while, then it will be okay. Not here, not here. In the place where I can take the sunlight. Right, so we can take the C as a correct one because the paragraph is taken red color fonts using this rule. Then H1 is taking red color fonts using this rule. So the separate rules for the separate selectors, right? So I think they are now the BE is not going to be answered clearly because it only changed the color of the fonts into red in H1 text. So this says both H1 and paragraphs should be presented in red, right? So if we got body color colon red, now that is of course, if we talk about the body. Yeah, let me think about it. No, this is going to be wrong again. It is because regardless of the tag, if you have body color colon red, everything like all font, it doesn't matter whether you are using H1 or H2 or H3 or H4 or paragraph or anchor tags or wherever you are going to use characters, those are going to be in red if you get the first particular rule, right? So for that reason, A cannot be taken as a correct answer because it says, which of the above rules will display H1 elements and all paragraph of the following document in red? So we only need to make those two as red ones. So for that reason, C and D is the correct one. A and B cannot be considered as the correct ones. So the answer is 5th. Is that clear, people?
Sir, D කියන answer එකේ C කියන answer එකේ වෙනස අර කමාව දාලා තියෙන එක විතරයි නේ.
කමාව කියලා C එකේ දීලක ඒක CSS පේලි දෙකක්. rules දෙකක්. H1 ට වෙනම ලියලා තියෙනවා, P ට වෙනම ලියලා තියෙනවා. D එකේ කරන්නේ H1 ටයි P ටයි දෙන්නටම අදාළ වෙන විදිහට ලියනවා. එහෙනම් අපි කමාස් දැම්මම වෙන්නේ මේ බන්ඩල් එකටම එතන තියෙන rules ටික apply වෙනවා.
හරි sir, හරි.
Right? Okay. Right. So Deelaka was asking about the 42nd, 4th one. Yeah, Deelaka, මෙතන operators වලින් බැලුවම අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් නේ Deelaka. මුලින්ම සිද්ධ වෙන්න ඕනේ 4 into 3 කියන එක. දැන් අපේ මේගොල්ලෝ අහන්නේ correct evaluation order එකනේ. දැන් දීලක මේ පාරේ ගියාම හරි උත්තරේ එන්න පුළුවන්. but මේගොල්ලෝ අහන්නේ Python interpreter එක කොහොමද evaluate කරන්න කියන එක. ඒතකොට evaluate කරනකොට දීලක method එක තමයි highest priority operator එකට එක තමයි මුලින්ම consider කරන්නේ. ඒතර highest priority එන්න පුළුවන් operators කීපයක් තියෙනවා නම් වමේ ඉඳලා දකුණට එනකොට මුලින්ම හම්බෙන operator එක තමයි එතනදී consider කරන්නේ. තේරුණාද දීලක?
ඔව් sir.
right? ඒක නිසා තමයි අපි මෙතන මේ priorities දැම්මේ. multiplication එක තමයි first priority. මොකද එයා දැන් multiplication division කියන්නේ දෙන්නම same priority level. but එයාගේ multiplication වලට first priority දෙනවා. හේතුව එයා තමයි වමේ ඉඳලා එනකොට මුලින්ම හම්බෙන කෙනා. got it?
හරි sir.
Right.
Yes sir, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So the next one is the 45th. 45th. Yeah, which of the following systems should always be based on artificial intelligence? Always be based on. So expert system without a problem, it is an artificial intelligent, one of the techniques, right? So we got, when it comes to the artificial intelligence, three type of things are being involved. Expert system is one thing, genetic algorithm is the other thing, and what's the other one? I just missed that. Expert system, genetic algorithms, and the way they have working with the cerebral. Let me refer it. I'll take a part of it. Yes, these are the ones. Yeah, neural networks. I'm sorry. So the neural networks, genetic algorithm, and the expert system. Those three categories are considered as the technologies that using artificial intelligence majorly, right? So ERP system, it's not going to be a correct answer because it is a computer system, and in other words, a software. So it does not have the AI technologies inside it, right? And geographical information system, clearly not going to be an answer, right? So with that, B and D should not be in your answers. So because of that, first one is gone, and the third one is gone, fourth one is gone, fifth one is gone. So the answer should be the second one, A and C. When it comes to the multi-agent system, they are asking should always be based on, yeah, we can consider, yeah, it is because it has this autonomy and the characteristics regarding a particular program which can do or which can interact with minimum human interactions, right? So for that reason, we can take A and C as the correct answer. So for 45th, it should be the second one. Yeah, the second one is the answer. Yes, then after the 48th, consider the following systems: human blood circulatory system, human digestive system, human nervous system, the system that can be considered as open systems. Yeah, I think there was some problem regarding this, but make a controversial. Human blood circulatory system, clearly we can take it as a closed system, right? So it is not getting any inputs from like very rare. අපේ ඇඟ ඇතුළට කියන්නේ අපි ඉපදිච්ච දවස් ඉඳලා අපි ලේ කාගෙන්වත් අරගන්නේ නැත්නම් ඒක ස්පෙෂල් කේස් සිනාරියෝ එකක් නේ. Otherwise the blood is within the blood circulatory system, right? So heart, these veins and all these things, they just maintain the blood inside that system, so not flowing out or not taking blood from the outside. Otherwise, we can say very minimal interaction with the outside or the environment. So it is closed clearly. So since they are asking about the open systems, the answers which has A clearly crossed out. Human digestive system, clearly an open system, right? Because we take foods into the human digestive system from the outside, then we leave out the things which are being digested, right? So clearly the open system. So B should be in your answer, right? So for that reason, they are asking about the open systems. So for that reason, we can leave out second one as the answer. So not the first one, not the third one. But when it comes to the human nervous system, we can't, some are arguing it is as a closed system, but it is not a closed system actually, right? Because human nervous system is the one which helps us to do this sensing part, right? So we get the sense once we touch something or like when we interact with something. So input is going to become or going to receive from the outside, that means from the environment, right? So central nervous system can be considered as an open one, right? But here they just went with only human digestive system. So the 48th, they've taken as the second one, right? Then finally, the 50th. Consider the following statement about syntax or semantic errors in Python programming language. All right. So syntax or semantics means the same way, the same feeling is there. All right. A program with syntax errors will not run to the end of the program. Right. Oh, hold on, semantic. The program with only semantic errors will not run to its end. People, just a second. I need to refer what's going on with the semantic. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's my bad. Now, semantic errors means, in other words, it can be taken as logical errors. Right? So syntax errors means the problems we find in the program, the grammatical mistakes. Grammatical mistakes means like according to the programming language, we have break a rule. So that is being considered as the syntax error. Semantic error, it's just fine, or like the program will run without any errors, but it won't do the right thing, or it won't produce the expected output, right? So that is what you call semantic or logical errors. So in the statement A, it says a program with syntax errors will not run to the end of the program, which is correct, because we know when the syntax errors are there, program stops, right? Sometimes at the beginning, or maybe sometimes at the middle, right? A program with only semantic errors will not run to its end. Now that is going to be a wrong one, because when it has logical errors, it won't cause any errors to run the program. It will run to the end. Only thing is it's not working properly, right? Syntax errors in programs are also called logical errors. So we can be taken as a correct one. And program with semantic errors may not produce correct output for the same input. Program with semantic errors may not produce the correct output for some inputs. Yeah, that can also be taken as the correct one. Hold on. So the logical errors. 50th, what is the answer? Oh yeah, it has taken 1, 3rd, and 5th. So according to us, it is A, C, and D. All are correct. So they have taken 1, 3rd, and 5th. A and B. A and D, and B and D. Yeah, they have not talking about the C1. Yeah, hold on, people. Semantic errors, improper use of program statements, improper use of program statements, logical errors, still the fact that specification is not respected. Yeah, people, just give me some time. I'll go through and tell you the exact reason. It seems there is a difference between the semantic and logical errors, so we need to be clear with that, right? So keep the 50th, right? I'll clear that after this session, right? Okay, so yeah, can I know how was the paper for you guys? Like how much you have scored out of 50? We had 4 out of syllabus questions. So that means like out of 46, or you can take those 4 are correct in any case. So then out of 50, How was it, people? Yes. Can I know the final mark? Meanwhile, I'll load the second paper. Okay, Onali, that's a good one. Dilaka, you have to work more, right? So learn the errors, learn the mistakes. Yes, others, how was it? Kovindu, okay, better, but you have to advance, right? Ranudi and Januda. Okay. Januda, how was the mark for the MCQs in 2014? Okay, right. Now people learn the mistakes. Ranudi, it's better you try it anyway, Dua, right? So we are going to discuss the second one as well. So remember next week, get ready with the 2015 one, people, right? Okay, so here we go. Let me take the 214 paper here. Just a second, people, I have to arrange these things. We actually don't need this. All right, I'll go by the marking scheme, and in any case, if you need to clarify anything, then I'm coming to the paper. All right. So people, again, I'm reminding you, so it's better you try these things for your own good, so you can realize what are the places that you have went wrong and why you have went wrong, right? Okay, here it comes. 214, the very first answers, yeah. So in the question, what they are saying is, they're asking you to complete the code to have this particular output. So you can say this, you can see they have started with the DL tags. So that means it's a definition list. So CPU is the definition title, ROM is a definition title, central processing unit is a definition data, and read-only memory is a definition data. So this should be DT over here, as well as DT. This should be a /DT, right? And this is going to be a DD and a /DD, DD and a /DD, right? So that should be the way. And look at how the markings are given, right? So it says 3 marks, right? At least one pair of DT, 1 mark, at least one pair of DD, 1 mark. For complete answer, 1 mark. Then you are going to lose the last 1 mark, sometimes maybe 2 marks. Right? If you got this correct, you got 3 marks, right? Then the second one, it is asking about what's going on with this, right? Write the outputs of the following HTML code segment when rendered by a web browser. So we don't have any tag called ABC, right? So if we are using an illegal tag or like a tag which is not existing, or if we are using a tag with different or incorrect spellings, none of the effect of that tag is going to be affected with the content. So greetings here, it's just show you greetings and an exclamation, right? Now in the second one, it has like end tag is at the beginning and the starting tag is at the end. So underline may happen after this tag for any content after the U tag, but not before the U tag. So again, greeting is going to be there as it is, right? So both the answers are going to be identical due to these reasons. So first one, it's greetings. G must be a capital one, right? An exclamation mark should be there, right? So 1 mark for each. So you can collect 2 marks. Now, these kind of questions are very possible, right? So be very careful and be very concentrative regarding these things. All right. So the third one, it is asking about, consider the following output with checkboxes rendered by a web browser. So it has programming language used, a colon, then in the next line, C, a checkbox, Java, a checkbox, Python, a checkbox. So they are asking you to complete the code segment. So programming language used with a colon, it can be illustrated in many different ways, right? But be very careful to learn or to go through the output that is given to you. Look at the font sizes, compare the font sizes, and see how it happens. Now here in this question, all the fonts seems to be in the same size, right? So we can, the best way that we can do is, do not use any kind of header tags. Just think these things as the plain text or the text inside a paragraph, right? And again, in between programming language used and C, Java, Python checkboxes, it has a like an empty line. At the empty line, right? So empty line automatically dala denne when you have paragraph tags to the top one or to the bottom one or to the both. The programming language use the paragraph tibbo, it creates empty lines at the top of it and at the bottom of it. For the checkboxes, if you start or like you put the checkboxes inside a paragraph, it does the same thing, right? At the top of the line and the bottom line will be an empty. It will insert 2 empty lines at the top and the bottom, before the paragraph and after the paragraph tag. If you put both the paragraph tag, still it gives you the same output, because the empty line from the first paragraph tag and the empty line from the second paragraph tag are being overlapped. Paragraph tags, empty lines can only concentrate when the paper was specifically right? So here in the marking scheme, they have given you many different alternative answers, right? So for the programming language use, it can be in between a paragraph tag, or they have taken, it can be in between H tags, right? N is considered as H2 or H3. And it is also okay to have bold tags. Then the programming language use can be in between bold tags. Or you can just say program language just used. And they have specifically talked about this this colon at the end, right? Any of the above, no marks for answer without a colon. The output take a විදිහටම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. Right? So they have considered about this colon as well. The output එකේ තියෙන්නේ colon එකක් එක්ක. Right? You can see here you got a colon. Right? It's එකේ විදිහටම end ඕනේ. Then about the check boxes, look at how it happens. Right? So they haven't concentrate on the paragraph tag, but it's better you put a paragraph tag before this input statement starts, right? Make a හරියටම ලිය වුණොත් මෙතන paragraph tag එකකින් start කරලා මේ ටික ලියලා ඊට පස්සේ paragraph tag එක close කරා නම් වඩා හොඳයි. Right? But they are just considering about this C and then input type equal checkbox thing. Right? So they are not concentrating about the value and the name. But remember, when you are writing a code segment, don't forget the name. Value, of course, you can forget in some certain places. But when it comes to the checkboxes and radio buttons, it's better you put the value as well. Right? So type, name, value. And when it comes to the radio buttons, names are going to be identical. And when it comes to the checkboxes, names are going to be different from each other. Right? But for this marking scheme, they are not considering about those, so you can take the marks. So having the programming language in any of these forms, you can have 1 mark, right? And strictly search for the capital simple letters, colon marks and all these things. And for the checkboxes, you should have this code as it is. You don't need dotted lines. Right, like C, then open the input tag, type equal checkbox is sufficient according to this marking scheme. But don't get used to that. And clearly, you should not have BR tags in between these tags, input tags. මොකද BR කියන එක තිබුණොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? එකක් යට එකක් හැදෙනවා. So do not use BR තිබුණොත් answer එක වැරදි. Right. So 1 mark for the programming languages use, 4 marks for the checkboxes and the complete answer. Altogether 5 marks for that. So see how many out of 10 that you have collected. Right. And always like rehearse things. ඔගොල්ලෝ එක ප්‍රශ්නයක් කරනකොට අනිත් දේවල් ටිකත් හිමින් මතකයට ගන්න එක හොඳයි. Right? Okay. Is that clear, people? Right, great. So have how many out of 10 that you have taken? And I'm again reminding you, next week is the 2015 paper, so get ready with it, right? Very good, Donnelly, very good. Right, so for the second one, they're asking about the 1's complement and 2's complement question. And here the question is a bit different. We have done this before as well. So they are saying, the question is the 1's complement of a particular number. They're asking you to prove a 1's complement. Yes, so.
We need the clay now.
So Haratati don't have a clay for the moment. Did I miss the second one? Oh, for some reason I lose the second one. Hold on a second, people. Oh, in my paper, they don't have the second one. Never mind, we'll go by the marking scheme, right? So in the second one, it says, they are asking you to prove the ones complement of this 0001, 2's complement of this 0001 is 1110, right? Isn't it? It is, right? Yeah. So the question says, show the negative of 0001 in binary is 1111 in binary. Note that both numbers are represented in 2's complement form, right? So you can represent this thing in many different ways, right? So either you can take 0001 as they have done in the marking scheme. So you take 0001 and ones complement it, that gives you 1110, then add a 1 and grab the answer all ones. So this is the 2's complement 1. So you can say this represent the negative value of this, right? That is a one way of doing it. Or else you can do the other way around. So you take 1111, invert it, and add a 1. Then you are going to have this. So you are going to say this value is the positive value of this, right? And they have given you a different method as well, and I'm not really aware about that. Only I have received your answer. Let me see the. Okay. When the positive, okay, yes, that is completely correct, Dua. But be very careful with the space that you are having, Dua. That is correct, Dua. You can have all marks, right? Okay, so with that, you can take 3 marks for the calculation that you have done. And for the part B, they have given you some e-commerce transactions, and they are asking whether you are agree with it or not. So as the question says, ABC company with DVDs and tablet PCs through eBay.com, eABC.com website, the company has classified transaction into the business type as given in the first 2 columns of the following table, right? So with that, they have said C2C is considered as a selling DVDs to consumers. Now, C2C is not a selling DVD to customers. Selling DVD to consumers, it is a B2C one, because the one who is selling the DVDs is a company, ABC company, is selling those things to consumer. So business to consumer, right? So you have to say it is not. And for the reason, you have to say the transaction is between ABC company and a consumer, or the definition of C2C. That means either you can justify it. Why it is no? It is because the transaction happened in between ABC company and the consumer. So it is kind of a B2C. Otherwise, you can say to become a transaction as C2C, both the parties should be consumers, but here in this case, ABC company is not a consumer, right? With the depathemma argue kalla liyanna puluwan, right? So for any saying it is no, 1 mark. For the argument, 1 mark. And when it comes to the B2C, the second one, it is saying selling tablet PCs to consumer, it is taken as B2C. So that proves the thing that we have discussed earlier. So it is B2C. ABC company is a business and other party is the consumer. So it happens from business to consumer, right? So we consider it as a B2C one, right? So for that explanation, 1 mark is given, right? So you can collect 4 marks for that if you got everything correct. The may wage questions will be very alert people. For you to say yes or no, you will be having a mark. Then samahara velawata apita හේතුව හරියට ලියා ගන්න බැරි වුණත් yes no කියන එක ස්ටේට් කරලා තියෙන නිසා ඒකට ලකුණු අරගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So remember those points. Right? And in the third question, they are just showing you the things and showing you a diagram and say the ABC company wants to introduce a new software agent service to monitor and display frequently browsed item by its consumers via eabc.com website. The following diagram depicts the interaction among the consumer company website and the software agent. Draw the lines and connect the rows in the following 2 tables to represent the above scenario, right? So they are having 3 types of, or like 3 ovals like this. And they are saying these are like A, B, and C, right? So if they are going to put a software agent to monitor what are the frequently browsed items, we know that consumer is going to be at one end. Right? So either A is a consumer or C is the consumer. One of the A and C is going to be a consumer. And who is doing what for whom? It is the software agent is monitoring the consumer to help the ABC or like eabc.com. So for that reason, agent should be at the middle. This is the software agent. And the other party is the aebc.com. Right? So always remember, software agent is there to interact with the consumer as well as with the website. Right? So he is the middle party, and rest of the things, or like it is in between consumer and the website, or the other 2 parties. Software agent is a middleman. It's going to be. So they says B is software agent, it is 1 mark. So if A is company, then C is going to be the consumer. If A is consumer, C is going to be the company website. So altogether 3 marks. A, B, C separately 1 mark for each, so 3 marks. Okay, so see how many out of 10 that you have taken. Right. Okay, great, Oneli. How about others? Right, then ogolo structured paper එකට උත්තර ලියනකොට be very careful of writing the things. හරියටම point එකට ලියන්න නැත්නම් you are going to lose. That's a good mark, Kobidu. Right? Deelaka, yeah. So you have to learn the mistakes, Kuda. Right? If it is not clear, just tell me. Right? Okay, so I'm moving to the third question. So in third question, they are talking about an ER diagram. So it is easy, right? So they provide you the tables and the ER diagram, they are asking us to like fill out the things, right? So for house entity, you can say house ID and A is going to become name. For student, student ID is there. So D and E should be something which is belongs to the student. So that means D can be name and E can be grade. Or you can toggle that. D can be grade and E can be name. House ID is there because house ID is the primary key of the house table. So it is acting as a foreign key in the student table. And they are asking about what is the relationship in between these two tables, or like in the ER diagram, B and C. So now we know like it could be 1-to-1 or 1-to-many. Because the 1-to-1 we can exchange like we are copying a primary key into another table. If it is 1-to-many, we are definitely taking the one side primary key and copy it to the many side table. So you have to figure out whether it is a 1-to-1 or 1-to-many. For that, you can use the details in the table. So how we are going to use the details? So first you are going to think about the house table. So house table HS1 Gamunu, HS2 Tissa, HS3 Vijaya, HS4 Parakum. So 4 different entities, 4 different values. Now look at the student. So in student, STU1 is in the HS1, STU2 in the HS1 as well. So that means one house and many students. Right? So one house has many students. Right? And if you think about one particular student, STU001 has only one house ID. STU001 is not going to repeat. So it has only one house ID. STU2 is going to have one house ID. So when you take house and student relationship into this side, one house has many students. And relationship into this side, one student has only one house. So in between these two, the cardinality is going to be, the final cardinality is going to be 1-to-many. මොකද මේ දෙන්නගෙන් ලොකු එක්කෙනා තමයි මෙතනට එන්නේ. මේ දෙන්නගෙන් ලොකු එක්කෙනා තමයි මෙතනට. Right? So B is 1, C is many, definitely. Is that clear, people? Right, so with that,
sir, excuse me, පොඩි අවුලක් තියෙනවා අර ER diagram එකේ D වලට house ID නොඑන්න හේතුව ඒක මේ foreign key එකක් හින්දා ER diagram වලට දාන්න හින්දා නේ sir.
ඒ කියන්නේ දීලක අපිට දැන් මේ ER diagram එකට scheme එක අඳින්න කිව්වොත් අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? house කියලා තියෙනවා. එයාගේ දානවා house ID එකයි name කියන එකයි. Right? තරත් මෙව දැම්ම close කරන්න නැහැ. ඊට පස්සේ student ව ගන්නවා. student ගේ දානවා student ID එකයි name and grade. එතකොට entities ටික දාලා ඉවරයි. ඊට පස්සේ බලනවා මේගොල්ලන්ගේ cardinality එක. cardinality එක එන්නේ 1-to-many. 1-to-many නම් one side එකේ primary key එක many side එකට copy කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒතර one side එකේ primary key එක house ID, ඒක නිසා යාව many side එකට copy කරනවා. clear ද දීලක?
ඔව් sir.
right?
එතකොට අපිට
මොකද පුතේ?
ඒක නිසාද සර් එතකොට අතෙන්ට house ID දාන්න නැත්තේ?
දාන්න නැත්තේ. ඔව්. ඔය අපි කරන්නේ රිවර්ස් එකනේ. දැන් අපි ඇත්තටම කරන්නේ ER diagram එක ඇඳලානේ table structure එක හදන්නේ. right?
ඔව් සර්.
දැන් මෙතන කරලා තියෙන table structure එක අපිට හදලා දීලා තියෙනවා තියලා කියනවා හොයන්න එහෙනම් කියලා. එතකොට මේ primary keys මේ විදිහට duplicate වෙන තැන් අපි අපේ ER එකේ entities වලට එල්ලන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ER diagram එක කියලා කියන්නේ entity එක තියෙනවා entity එකට අයිති attributes ටික තමයි entity එකේ තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට පැහැදිලිවම student අයිති attribute එකක් නෙවෙයිනේ house ID කියන්නේ. house ID කියලා කියන්නේ පැහැදිලිවම house එකට අයිති ID attribute එකක්. right? නමුත් අපිට දැන් අපිට මේක නම් දුන්නේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විදිහට ඒකෙන් අපි derive කරන්නේ මෙයා. දැන් කියලා තියෙන්නේ මේ උඩ ස්කීම එක දීලා ඒකෙන් ER එක derive කරන්න කියලා. ඉතින් අර basis එකම තමයි අපි reverse එකට බලන්නේ.
හරි සර් හරි.
හරි?
හරි සර්.
Right. Okay, so regarding the marks, yeah, A is name, 1 mark, definitely A should be name. B is 1, C is M, to both the things 1 mark only. D is going to be name. If D is name, E is going to be grade. If D is grade, E is going to be a name. So altogether 4 marks. Right? And in part B, excuse me. In part B, they are asking the question, state the relationship between tables, student and house is 1-to-1, 1-to-many or many-to-many. Justify your answer using suitable data from the above table. Now, that's a serious question. You have to prove it using the above table, right? So you have to tell the relationship is in between. Did I went to the C part straight away? No. Yeah. So first of all, you have to tell this is 1-to-many relationship. Then you have to justify one student belongs to one house. So it says any row from student table. You have to draw that any row, one particular row, right? So then only you will be able to find 1 mark for that. And for house to student, one house can have more than one student, right? So definitely it's going to be first 2 rows in the student table. මොකද නැතුව 1-to-many එක illustrate කරන තැනක් නෑ මේ tables වල. Right? So ඒක හරියට deal කරගන්න one student belongs to one house. ඒක මේ table එකෙන් කැමති එකක්. මේ student table එක තමයි අපි consider කරන්නේ. මොකද එතන තමයි relationship එක පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන් තැන. මෙයාගෙන් පෙන්වන්න බෑ relationship එක. Right? එතකොට any of these lines illustrate one student has only one house කියලා. But one house can have many students කියන එක illustrate කරන්නේ මේ දෙන්න විතරයි. ඒක නිසා මේ දෙක අනිවාර්යෙන් තියෙන්න ඕන. Only like without describing, are you asking like without saying like one house has many students කියලා දාන්න නැතුව cross දෙක ඇඳුත් විතරක් ගන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා දුවහන්නේ? Okay, only I received your answer. Let me see. Okay. Yes. සමහර විට දුව මෙතන ලකුණු කැපෙන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ අහලා තියෙන නිසාදුව, right? So it's better you give all the clues, right? Summary කරන්න යන්න එපා. Yes, there is a risk to it. There is a possibility that you can lose 1 mark, right? එක mark එකක් miss වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Got it? Right. Okay. So altogether you can have 3 marks. 1 mark is for saying what is the relationship, and other 2 marks are given separately, justifying student to house relationship and house to student relationship. Right? Then the marking scheme penna මේක කරන්නෙම ළමයි learn කරන්න ඔයාගේ උත්තරේ කොහොමද ලියවෙන්න ඕනේ කියන එක. ඒකම තමයි A level වල A එකක් ගන්න තියෙන රහස. Right? To the point ලියන්න, අඩුපාඩු නැතුව ලියන්න. අපි මොනාම හරි නිකන් සිංහල රචනාව වගේ ලියලාවට ලකුණු හම්බෙන්නේ නැත. There should be the points. Right? Okay, so the third one, it is asking about a SQL statement, isn't it? Yeah. Write the output of the following SQL statement based on the above table, if any, otherwise state the error. So first one says select asterisk from student where house ID equals HS3. Select all from student table where house ID equals HS3. So house ID is HS3, has only 1 entry, which is this. So this output should comes with this particular headers, right? So your answer should be like this. It's better you like put it in a table structure. Student ID STU004, name Hakim, grade 11, house ID HS3. Right? And yeah, it says the answer similar to the above 2 rows, 2 marks, no information loss. Spelling mistake, additional spaces, case changes, deduct 1 mark. Right? Spelling mistakes, additional spaces, case changes, deduct 1 mark. So that's why I told you, be very careful when you are dealing with the ER diagram, because it is just following all the rules in it. And the second question, the second query actually, it says select student ID, house ID, name from student, house. Here we are going to have a problem. What is the problem? They are asking us to select things from a join. So they are joining student table and the house table, or like referring both the tables to select student ID, house ID, and name. Problem occurs when the house ID comes, because house ID is there in both the tables. Then of course we have to specify clearly which house ID that we are going to use. Is it the house table's house ID, or is it the student table's house ID? Right? So your answer should illustrate that. They say it's error, right? And how they have said attribute name and house ID, 1 is enough, appears in both tables. Yeah, even name is also appears in both the tables, neither. Yeah, so we got name in the house as well as name in the student. So any one of those or both gives you the marks, right? So attribute name and house ID, or like if you say attribute name appears in both tables, still you are getting marks. Or attribute house ID appears in both tables, still you get marks. And if you are given the same expression in a different manner, still you can have the marks. Right, so mark it correctly, people. For the third part, C2, only 1 mark, C1, 2 marks. Then A part 4 marks, B part 3 marks. That is how 10 is being calculated. So see how many out of 10 you got. Okay, Anali, that's a very good mark. How about others? All right, Dilaka, Kovidu. Yeah, that's a good mark as well, right? Okay, so moving to the last structured question, the fourth one. So it is talking about the operating systems. And first one is the calculation regarding the memory. So it says the memory of a computer system is byte addressable and has a maximum usable size of 4 GB. What is the minimum width of its address bus in bits? Right, so 2013 wala tibba gane anit patta me ahala තියෙනවා. Right, so it says it is byte addressable, right, and it has 4 GB. So it's easy, right? So it says byte addressable and maximum usable size is 4 GB. So what we can say is here we can say maximum usable memory equals 2 to the power total bits in memory address. Right, so maximum usable memory is 4 GB equals 2 to the power, let's take X as the total bits in memory address. So 4 GB should be able to convert into bytes. Why it is converted into the bytes? Because it says it is byte addressable. So like 4 GB into bytes, right? GB become MB, MB become KB, KB become bytes. So 4 means 2 to the power 2. For these things, you need 2 to the power 10s. For this 2 to the power 10, and again for this 2 to the power 10. So it's 2 to the power 32 equals 2 to the power X. Therefore, X equals 32. Right, that should be the way that the question should be achieved. So marking scheme shows you some calculations. Maximum usable size of memory 4 GB, 2 to the power 32 bytes, 1 mark. So number of different addresses required. Actually, that really don't need to be written, right? So you can say the third one straight away, number of minimum bits required for an address, 32 bits, right? So it's better you say width of the address bus. Therefore, the width of the address bus is 32. Right? Nikam address එක bit ගාන 32යි කියලා දාලා නිකන් ඉන්න එපා. Because the question is asking about the width of the address bus. Right? So at some point, you have to mention width of the address bus is equals to this much of bits. right? So it is given 3 marks for the correct calculation. And in fourth one, part B, it is asking, the famous question. Process is another name for a program. Do you agree with this statement? Yes or no, give answers. So it says no, because process is a program in execution, right? Not just an alternative name for a program. So process is a program in execution is sufficient for you to have 2 marks. Right? So you can take that and say it, like just for saying no, you are going to receive 1 mark. And for the explanation, you are going to receive another 2 marks. Right? And for the fourth one, they have just given the diagram that we learn in the operating system, the 7-state diagram. And they are asking what are the letters, or like what are the states that it indicates by A, B, C, and D. So A is going to be ready. We can use it as waiting as well. If you got waiting, you can collect the marks. And B is running, C is terminated, and D is blocked. So you should remember the 7-state diagram. The 7-state diagram එක දැන් ගොඩ දවසකින් අඳින්න අහලා නැහැ. Right? So maybe you may get a chance. Right? So please remember it completely, right? With the states and with the things on the arrows, right? A state changing due to what reason here. So it's better you remember. So that sum up the structured paper. See how much you have scored out of 40, and let me know the mark as well.
Sir, so podi avulak tiyena. Ara sir, process is another name for a program කියන එකට මම ලිව්වේ process is a number of instructions that to be executed. Program is consist of many processes කියලා.
හරි. Program is consist of many processes කියන එක තියෙනව නේද?
ඔව්.
ඔව්. ඒකට ලකුණු ගන්න පුළුවන්. No problem.
හරි sir.
ඔයා මුලින් ලියලා තියෙන වාක්‍යය මොකද්ද? Process is a
number of instructions that to be executed කියලා.
Process is number of. එතන පොඩ්ඩක් conflict වෙන්න පුළුවන් දීලා. මොකද the process is number of instructions.
Process is a number of instructions that to be executed here, sir.
Number of instructions that to be executed. Process. කමක් නැහැ. ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි පොඩ්ඩක් මේ marking scheme එකේ ඒ කියන්නේ ඔක නිතරම කියන එකක්. A process is a program in execution. A program can have many processes කියන එක. පොඩ්ඩක් එතනට stick වෙන්න බලන්න. ඔතන කියන එකේ වැරද්දක් නැහැ. process එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ execute වෙන්න තියෙන instructions ටිකක් තමයි. එහෙම වුණොත් ඒක තව ටිකක් විස්තර කරන්න වෙනවා. ඔය හැබැයි කියලා තියෙනවා නේද one program have many processes කියලා.
ඔව් sir.
හරි. පුළුවන්. ලකුණු ගන්න. No problem. Okay, how was it, people? Out of 40? Okay, Unali, that's a good mark. Kovindu, okay. So, like if you are dreaming about an A, always try to achieve the 40. So, in between 35 and 40 will be a very good mark to go for an A, right? මොකද මේකෙන් 35ක් ගන්නවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඔතනට ඔයගොල්ලෝ අරගන්න ඕනේ තව කියන අපි MCQ වල ගන්න portion එක 45 අප් කරන්න කියලා. right එතකොට 45 අප් කරාම ඔයාලට තව ලකුණු 30යි මෙතනින් අරගන්න තියෙනවා. එතකොට ස්ට්‍රක්චර්ඩ් එකට 35ක් එනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ලකුණු 17ක දෙයක් ඉවරයි. right ඇත්තටම බැලුවොත් තව ලකුණු 17ක විතර ප්‍රමාණයක් තමයි ඔයාලට 60න් අරගන්න තියෙන්නේ. මොකද සෙකන්ඩ් පේපර් එක නිතරම රිස්කි පැත්තට බර වැඩි. right වරදින්න පුළුවන් අඩුවෙන් ලියවෙන්න පුළුවන්. right MCQ තමයි highly capable point එක. මොකද අපිට උත්තරයක් දීලා තියෙන්නේ we only need to find the correct answer. right so those are concrete things. so if you score like in between 45 to 50, the weight for the second paper is being reduced. right එතකොට 40 වලට આવොත් 30ක් හොයාගන්න ඕනේ second paper එකේ. right so always have the idea. right okay Dilaka, you have to work more. It's a good mark, right but it's better you target the thing. right Sasit, even for you have to work more with that. right it's clear නැති දැන් අනිවාර්යෙන් clear කරගන්න. right if you need to have the if you need any assistance from me, just let me know. okay so I'm going to the second part. right let's quickly go through. I think first one has done by everyone, so here comes the answer for the first one. So it is about the question of this motion, glass and blackout detectors in a alarm system. So if as they say, if any at least two of these things goes out, it is how they said, right? The system automatically detects break-ins and triggers the alarms only when 3 detectors are simultaneously active, or the blackout detector and any one of the remaining detectors are active. Yeah, that is the rationale, right? Or the argument. Either all the alarm should, all the sensors should detect one, right, or activated, or blackout detector with one of the other 2 detectors, right? So your answer, the truth table should be goes in this particular manner, and you should clearly say what indicates by this A, B, C and Q. හතරම ඕනේ inputs තුන මොන අකුරු වලින්ද indicate කරන්නේ, output එක මොන අකුරෙන්ද indicate කරන්නේ. That is why it has specifically said if not defined, deduct 1 mark from the total marks. alarm එක output එක මොකක්ද කියලා define කරලා නැත්තම්. ඕවා ඔයගලන්ට අමතක වෙන points. right? ඒක නිසා මතක් කරලා ඔක තියාගන්න. right? Then about your truth table, you can have different kinds of combinations, right? මෙතන දැන් අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් පිළිවෙලකට ලියන්න පුරුදු වෙලා තියෙනවා. කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් මේ පිළිවෙලට නැතුව මේ combinations අට ලියලා ඔයාට එක එන්න ඕනේ මේ කියන combinations වලදී. right? all ones වෙන වෙලාවෙ වෙන්න ඕනේ. blackout detector එක දැන් මේ question එකේ හැටියට නම් blackout detector එක අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ C. right? ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාගේ blackout detector එකට අදාළව එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඉතිරි දෙන්නගෙන් එක්කෙනෙක් එක වෙලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. right? ඉතින් පිළිවෙලට යනතම හරියටම මේ output එක ඔයාට එනවා. right? so if you got this correctly, you can have how many? 4 marks altogether. right? so 3 marks for the truth table, 1 mark for the correct, hold on, how they have said, each correct row with Q equals 1 will get 1 mark, correct table 1 mark. so altogether 4 මෙතනටත් වෙනම දෙනවද? එහෙම කියලා නෑ. 4 2 6 4 10 12 15. yeah total එක يعني inputs ටික indicate කරනවාට සහ truth table එක අඳිනවාට තමයි 4 marks දෙන්නේ. මෙතන අඩු වුණොත් එක ලකුණක් අඩු වෙනවා. අනිත් ඒවා අඩු වුණොත් එක ගානේ අඩු වෙලා යනවා. Right? So if you got any problems, just send me the answer, then I'll look into it and tell you what went wrong and how much you have been collected. Right? Okay. Right. So moving forward, so they're asking you to derive a particular expression. They haven't said specifically whether it is a SOP or a POS one, right? Yeah, it says derive the Boolean expression to represent the truth table constructed in section above. So you can have a SOP or a POS, it doesn't matter, right? So having a SOP is easy. මොකද එකේ ඒවා තුනයිනේ තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා terms තුනක් ලියන එක lazy, but still you can go for the POS as well, right? POS එක ලියපු කවුරු හරි ඉන්නවද? ඉන්නවනම් ඒක ගැන කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay. So then they're asking you to simplify it. So they have clearly said simplify the Boolean expression obtained in section B1 above using Boolean algebra. So you can't use K-map. Clearly show all the workings and Boolean algebraic rules used for the simplification. So what they have taken is like they have taken BC out from the first two terms. So A plus A is going to become 1. So then they are taking C out using the distributive law, and B plus A dot B bar is going to give you B plus A using the redundancy law, right? Then law එක ලියනකොට නම ලියන්න උවමනා නැහැ. What they are encouraging is like write it like this, right? So actually the last one is not a law. එක කියලා තියෙන්නේ උත්තරේ මෙහෙම තිබ්බත් හරි දෙන්න කියලා. මේ විදියට හරි මේ විදියට හරි දෙකෙන් එකකට හරි දෙන්න කියලා, right? So it's better you write the correct reasons for those as well, right? So 1 mark for the correct final answer, and for 2 relevant rules which you have stated, 1 mark for each. That means 2 will be taken here, right? Rules දෙකට එක ගානේ දෙන්න කියලා තියෙනවා. එතන මෙයාට එක ලකුණයි, මෙයාට එක ලකුණයි, final answer එකට එක ලකුණයි, and for the simplification, like from here to here, only 1 mark. That is how the 4 marks are given. Right? Okay. So moving forward, they're asking you to draw a particular circuit. So it's very easy. So this is for the B into A plus C. If you draw it to the BA plus B3, it's going to be a different one, right? So for any structure, you are going to have the marks, right? So this is for B dot A plus C, right? You can draw it like this as well. A, B is there, and BC is also there. Yeah, so that can also be drawn. Right, so any of the circuits, 2 marks are given. Then the last part, it says the analysis of the past incident where the alarm triggered reveals the break-in attempts have been made only during blackouts. Do you agree with the above statement? Justify your answer. Now, this justification is very easy. What we should argue is like, if you are like referring to the truth table, now these blackouts, these are the alarm triggering part. So in all the alarm triggering part, blackout sensor is indicating 1. Right? So that proves what they have said is true. So whenever the alarm has triggered, in all those cases, there are 3 cases. In all those cases, blackout sensor act as 1, or like the blackout sensor is indicated. So you can say it very simply like that. Right? So in the marking scheme, how they have gone with, they say there is 1 mark for saying yes, and the answer should be include the following facts. Break-ins are indicated by alarm triggers. If alarm is to be triggered, blackout detector must always be active. Right? Or you can argue on that particular manner. In the truth table, the alarm has triggered when the blackout detector is active in all the cases. Right? So if you have given those 2 factors, you can take 3 marks. Right? And see how many you collect out of 50. Okay. Oh, that's great. All right. Onelli, very good. Okay. Who has done the second question? Right. All right. So let's go to the second question. So second question is asking, for the very first one, they're asking draw a diagram depicting the 7-layer of OSI reference module. So it's easy, right? So application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and physical, right? So it says either 0 or 3 mark, right? It's a pretty straight question, straightforward question. So, and with this, please practice the TCP/IP one as well, right? It has only 4 layers and it contains different kinds of names, right? It is there in your network tute. Please go through that, right? And in the B part, they're asking, you have received an email supposedly from the administrator of your email system notifying that your email account is about to be closed soon. It requests you to click on a link in the email and enter your current username and password if you want to continue using your email account. What is the main threat to the security if you agree with this request? Now, if they are requesting the username and the password, it is definitely on a case of phishing, right? Because if you are receiving a link and asking or like requesting to click that and enter your username and password, a phisher can do the same, right? Phisher can send you an email like it's like acting as the or like presenting or like illustrating himself as the email service provider, and asking you to click that particular link and say, you click it and log, then only you will be survived with your email, right? So it can be a potential phishing attack, right? It's very possible to be a phishing attack. So in those kind of cases, we should not get panicked. What we can do, like we can visit to the main or the genuine website that is providing us the email facility. In case like if you are having a Gmail, just go to gmail.com. If you are having a Yaml, if you're having a Ymail, just go to the ymail.com, right? So whatever the original site, you visit the original site and enter your username and the password and see whether if any changes are happened to your account or not, right? So that is why in the marking scheme it says, this is an example for potential attack, which is phishing. The sender of the email can be easily faked and therefore should not be trusted. When the when the answer is either 1 or 2 above, give 2 marks, right? Or it can describe as this, right? So that is going to be the total one. The attacker can collect the username and the password of the email user who comply with this request, and their accounts can be used by the attacker to launch further attacks, right? එතකොට එතනදී ඒගොල්ලෝ point out කරලා තියෙන දේවල් ටික, right? This can be a potential attack, so it can use the username and the password, and they will use this kind of things for further attacks as well. Okay, email will be get hacked and all the sensitive information will get stolen. Only when you are writing that, you have to say there is a possibility. Certain answer, right? There is a possibility to possibility that the email will get hacked due to this, and all the sensitive information may get stolen, right? So we have to say what is the potential of this, right? And regarding this further attacks, actually doubt whether the launch, further attacks ki point but they have considered it as a considerable point, so learn that, right? Attack එකක් කරාම ඉතින් ඉස්සරහට තව යන attacks වලට අපේ තියෙන details පාවිච්චි වෙන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක, right? So they have given you 5 marks altogether. Now this is the kind of a risk that you are facing when you are doing the second paper. Sometimes it may further attacks කියන point එක අමතක වෙලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? So if you have the idea, it's going to give you 5 marks.
Sir, මං පොඩි ආන්සර් එකක් දැම්ම සර් WhatsApp කරා සුට්ටක් එක බලන්න සර්.
දීලක මෙතන personal details and other details in the email කියන එක specify වෙන්න ඕනේ පුතා. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙතන personal details other details කියවම ඒක කොතන තියෙනවද කියන එක specify නැහැනේ. මෙතන කියලා තියෙන email එකට සම්බන්ධ කියලානේ. right? එතකොට ඔයාගේ වාගෙන් මේ hacker ගේ පැත්තට නැත්නම් phishing attack එක කරන කෙනාගේ පැත්තට යන්නේ email එකට අදාළව තියෙන username and password. right? එතකොට ඒක specify වෙන්න ඕන. නැත්නම් මේක නිකන් common answer එකක් වෙනවා. එහෙම ලියලා තිබ්බනම් පාට ලකුණු 2ක් හෝ 3ක් කියන දණට එන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඊමේල් එක ස්පෙસિෆයි වෙලා නැති නිසා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට එක ලකුණකින් විතර වගේ නතර වෙන්න පුළුවන් දීලා. තේරුණාද දීලා? right? ඒක ස්පෙසිෆයි වෙන්න ඕනේ පුතේ. මේක පැහැදිලිවම කියලා තියෙනවනේ ඊමේල් එක චේන්ජ් වුණා. ඒක නිසා ඊමේල් එකේ යූසර් නේම් පාස්වර්ඩ් දෙන්න කියලා.
ඔව්.
So අපි specifically කියන්න ඕනේ email එක තමයි මෙතන potential threat එක තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Right?
Hari sir, hari.
Okay. So the C part, they are talking about, yeah, it's an easy one. Draw diagrams to depict the following land topologies: bus, star, and ring. Right? Bus එක අඳිනකොට අනිවාර්යෙන් මේ දෙපැත්තේ terminators දෙක හොඳට indicate කරන්න. Right? And when you are like drawing this star, it is easy. Drawing a ring, it is easy again. Right? මේවා හරියට connect වෙලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. A, B, C, D, E ring එකක් විදිහට. Like it's better you name the things correctly. Central star topology, when it comes to star topology, central device is there. The devices are connected in this manner. It's better you say like that. Right? So if you have drawn that clearly, it's going to be 3 marks. Right? Yeah, the fourth question is the calculation. Right? The maker network related question එකක් නෙමෙයි මේක අපි කලින් කරලා තියෙනවා. network වල terms තිබුණාට this is some kind of a velocity related question. Right? Now, what is it saying is, the question says there is this device called MRTT. We don't need to know what MRTT is. A new tool, MRTT, was used to measure the round trip time for the data packets on the internet between 2 machines. Right? One machine is at the location X and the other machine is, the other one is at the Y. Sorry. The MRTT reported a round trip time. The මේක ඔයගලන්ට සමහර වෙලාවට හදාගන්න හිත වෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ round trip time කියන එක බත් අපි කලින් කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. Round trip time means like going from X to Y and then coming back again. Where A point එක දැනගෙන හිටපු නැති නිසා calculation එක වැරදුනොත්, so don't worry. මොකද round trip time කියන එක අපි කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ syllabus එකේ දැන්. Right? So round trip time means like starting from one point, goes to the other destination and comes back, right? So the question says it has 3,000 kilometers in between these 2 points, right? So round trip time means altogether it's 600 or like 6,000 kilometers, right? So this, when you are sending a small data packet from here to here, and once it is moved back here, this MRTT, the device, it shows how many? 8 milliseconds for the round trip time. 8 milliseconds. So you are asked with the question whether you can believe or like whether this particular MRTT device is reliable or not. Right? So you only need to do a very simple calculation to see whether it is correct or not. So what is the basis here? For a round trip time, so the distance of the round trip time is what? Distance of round trip time is 6,000 kilometers, right? Because it goes 3,000 from X to Y and comes again. Right? So altogether 6,000 kilometers. The time took is 8 milliseconds. So we can find the speed, right? Speed of communication. How we are going to find it? We have to use this වේගය සමානයි දුර බෙදීම කාලය. Speed is equals to distance divided by time. Right? So we are going to divide distance by time. So the distance is how many? 6,000 kilometers. Time is 8 milliseconds. Right? So you have to figure out this speed using the speed of, using the speed unit of the light, right? So light speed is given 300,000 kilometers per second. Why it is provided there in the question? Because it is the fastest way to communicate, right? Or the highest speed, right? So if you are going to find how many, what is the speed in kilometers per second, so this 8 milliseconds should be converted into the seconds. So that means 6,000 divided by 8, and 8 should be divided by 1,000 to indicate it in seconds, right? Because millisecond has 1,000 seconds. So this is going to give you 6,000 into 1,000 divided by 8. So it's going to be kilometers per second. So once you deal with this, this is going to give you what? Let's say 1 over here, and for 100, for 10 it is 1, for 2 it is 2 is remaining, 20 it is 2, this is going to be 125. 125 into 6 means 30. 6 into 2 is 12, 12 plus 3 is 15, 1 is, yeah. So it's going to record me this much of speed, right? So if the MRTT records that it is 8 milliseconds that it needs to travel in between this X and Y, so the speed of communication should be 750 kilometers per second. But the problem is the highest speed is the speed of light, which is 300 kilometers per second. So we can't record something greater than that. So due to that, you can say this MRTT is not a reliable one, right? So we can simply say the highest speed of communication is 300,000 kilometers per second. Therefore, MRTT cannot be considered as a reliable device. Okay, people, is that clear? You can approach this in many different ways, people, right? Make approach එක, right? තව කෙනෙකුට පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන් තප්පර 8කින් light speed එක පාවිච්චි කරලා ගියොත් කොච්චර දුරද යන්න පුළුවන්? ඒ දුර මේ 6000ට වඩා අඩුයි. ඒක නිසා අපිට ආගියු කරන්න පුළුවන් light speed එකෙන් ගියාමත් මෙන්න මෙච්චරක් දුර තමයි යන්න පුළුවන් milliseconds 8කදී. නමුත් MRTT එක රෙකෝඩ් කරනවා kilometers 6000 milliseconds 8කින් ගිහිලා තියෙනවා කියලා. So because of that it is wrong. Right? නැත්තම් තව කෙනෙකුට ගන්න පුළුවන් X and Y අතර round trip time එක 6000 kilometers light speed එකකින් ගියොත් කොච්චර වෙලාවක් එන්න ඕනද කියලා. Right? So that should be the lowest time that can be recorded. So that lowest time is definitely bigger than 8 milliseconds. So you can say lights when we traveling, when a data packet has traveled using the light speed, this is the time that is going to be recorded, but it is the MRTT is recording something less than that. Due to that, MRTT is not reliable. Right, people, is that clear? The argument. Right, great. Okay, so in the marking scheme, yeah, they are just referring to the time limit. So it says light takes 10 milliseconds to travel, it says 3,000 kilometers in this particular thing, right? So it's got a 3,000 kilometers light speed again 10 milliseconds, 6,000 and 20 milliseconds. Therefore, MRTT is providing something less, ඒක නිසා unreliable. So, however, for any kind of argument, saying it is not reliable, 1 mark is given. For proving the fact, 3 marks are given. Right? Okay, so people, I had to stop the class from this point because I'm going to start my other class by 11:30. Right? So sorry for the delay today. මං ගිය සතියේ කිව්වා ඔයගලන්ට මෙහෙම එකක් එන්න පුළුවන් කියලා මට කල්ලාතු ඉන්ෆෝම් කරන්න බැරුණා තිබ්බ වැඩ ටිකත් එක්ක අපිට ආයි දවසක් මෙහෙම එනවා not very soon ගොඩක් වෙලාවට next month එකේ first week එක වෙන්න පුළුවන් මම එතනදී definitely ඔයගලන්ට ඉන්ෆෝම් කරන්නම් එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි උදේ හරි මේ විදිහට හරි arrange කරගමු මට හිතෙනවා වඩා හොඳයි උදේන් කරන එක 6 ඉඳලා 8 වෙනකන් කියලා right and I let you know right so you can copy this down and disconnect right if you are copy this down then you can disconnect anyway. Right, so I'm going to end the session from here. By next week, we are going to quickly go through the other 3 questions and move into the 2015 one. So please get ready with those things. Right? Okay. So if you are done with this, you can disconnect, right? Thank you very much and have a very nice weekend. Right? Okay, people. Thank you. Thank you very much.